All right, so I can think of 3 general areas of problems that you might encounter in launching a pilot. The first one is going too big. So you'd like, this is agility, right? We do small increments, learn, adjust, and build from there. So you want your pilot to be small, but you want it to be some complete valuable thing. So think about, can we do this with one project? Can we do it with one team? Can we time box the experiment and then revisit how we liked it and what we might want to do differently? So I've been at a company that did all the teams at once, and not a lot of agility resulted because it was too confusing and opaque to really see what was happening and learn from it. And so not much agility resulted, and it was very painful. So first of all, don't go too big. Secondly, don't go too soft. As a Scrum Master, right, your job is to crank up the contrast, right? Your job is transparency. How can you create an environment or help the team to create an environment where introspection is possible, where they can see what they're doing to themselves by their decisions? If you don't do agility all the way, the transparency is compromised, so the inspection is compromised, so the adaptation is compromised, right? So go smaller in scope, but all the way to agility. We're going to honor all of the rules of the Agile Manifesto. In this project, we're not going to have component teams. We're going to have fully capable teams. We're going to have one product owner, and their say is going to be final. We're going to honor all of the rules of Scrum. We're going to honor all of the principles of the Agile Manifesto. I think that's really important. And then the third thing is just start. So you don't need a sprint zero. You don't need spikes to study stuff. Just start building your product from the riskiest pieces or the most valuable pieces right away. I have a great illustration of this. I used to work with a director of research, and this was for embedded consumer audio products. So it was embedded software with hardware, and his research team was doing all of that, the hardware and the software. And his classic first story was light the power LED. So what did he do with that? Teams might spend 3 sprints just setting up their infrastructure, their development environment, their test environment. They had to do all of that a little to light up 2 processors, get some information running back and forth, get one of the GPIO leads to connect power to an LED. So they had to get a pretty significant subset of their system to just work. It's really powerful. So don't go too big, go all the way, and just start. Now, when you go to scale from a pilot, there are a few things that you want to keep in mind. One is I recommend on-demand scaling. You start off with one team. They're starting down the road of this new project. They will tell you when they need a second team. Don't force a second team on them prematurely. When they start to get fast, when they start to have more work in their backlog than they can consume, they'll tell you when they need another team. So that's one thing. It's important to remember that your pilot usually was a pilot of the willing. So it was the volunteers who wanted to try Scrum. When you go to scale to a larger piece of your organization, you want to use some kind of an invitational engagement framework that gets those who are interested and willing to power the change. They're typically your smartest people, if they're not engaged by your change initiative, they're going to be loitering by the door, as a friend of mine is fond of saying. Use some kind of an invitational framework like Agenda Shift or Open Space in order to engage the people as you scale. Agility is simple. It's not easy because it exposes the things that you're doing to yourself that don't make sense. But it's pretty easy. And if your backlog management is complex, you're probably off track. So you want one product owner per product, or sometimes you can identify sections of your product that are kind of like separate products. This range of features and this range of features and the installation capability and your error handling system, those might be separate products. But even if you have multiple teams working on the same product, you really want one product owner, you want one product backlog. And you want teams that are capable of delivering that whole product if they had enough time. If your backlog is really complex and you have many, many product owners for a single product, you might be suspicious that you're actually still working the old way and you're just going through the motions of agility, which is really wasteful. You're better off continuing to work the old way.